My name's Travis Bull Johnson. I'm running for Congress against Michelle Fishbach.
There's no money in ending war. There's no money in limiting government.
No more.
To me, part of what makes America great are our small businesses, our small farms, and that's what's getting squeezed out by the establishment politicians.
That's why I say, raise cattle, not taxes. And my name's Travis Bull Johnson.
Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Bull. Welcome to the 29th episode of Independent is Power. It's been pretty busy last couple of weeks, both here on the farm as well as politically. As far as on the farm this week, I mean, we had what hopefully is our last big blizzard of the year. Ended up having 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts blowing snow around. So even though we only got about an inch of actual snow that fell, we ended up with drifts good 3-4 feet through our driveway and through all over the farm that we had to get out of the way in order and dig out so we can get about our normal day-to-day activities. So of course that kept things busy. We had a pig get injured last week. The thing with pigs are they're bullies. You put a new pig in there, and they just they have to establish a pecking order, and when you're 400 or 500 pounds, that can be painful. And you have that every time you take a pig out and put her back in. They have to go through that whole pecking order thing again. And we had one of our pigs that had babies earlier in the year, and we put her back out there with everybody else, and she was out there for probably about a month, and then between getting picked on her and probably getting remounted by the boar, which is close to 1,000 pounds, she's been a little shaky and lost a lot of weight. So we had to get her into the barn and had the vet come out to the farm yesterday. And I tell you what, we're great to have the relationship we do with our vets. If you're a small producer, there is no relationship more important probably than that with your vet, because we've got that relationship where we can just get on the phone and say, hey, I need to get vet out here for this or for that, and usually within a reasonable time they can get out there. So we had him out there yesterday, and he gave us some pain medication to help the pig out. We had another goat who kind of broke his leg trying to get through another fence. Goats are great in the fact that they heal up so quickly. For him, it was just a matter of getting a splint on him. And then we had him take a look at our new goats that we picked up a couple weeks ago from Wisconsin and east of the cities. Because when we get a new goat in, we quarantine them away from the rest of the herd for at least 3 to 4 weeks. Get a vet to look them over, do blood work to ensure that we don't have a couple of the major diseases that bringing them into our herd. That was really important for us, just simply for the fact that we have what we call a closed herd. These are the first new goats we've brought in. Well, I suppose I can't say I have a closed herd now, but these are the first new goats we've brought into our herd in probably over 3 years. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it on the last show with the 2 goats we brought in was a Nubian and a Pygmy. These are basically the base breeds that the kinder goats that we raise are based out of. And whenever you do a mating between a male Pygmy goat and the female Nubian, those offspring are called first generations. First generation kinders are something that's pretty hard to find, and a lot of people are looking for them because it represents a complete new bloodline into the kinder goat group. And I mean, kinder goats are still a small enough breed that sometimes it's hard to find breeding stock that's not at least in some way related to what you already have. So with those guys, we're hoping to have our first generation kinders. But that's a little bit about what's going on the farm. Now let's switch gears a little bit to the political realm. couple things happened this week. One of the big ones, as far as we are concerned, we talked about this in our special episode yesterday, so I'm not going to beat it up on it too much, was the Democrats pushed forward a bill through committee that would raise the percentage of votes required to make major party status in Minnesota up to 10% from 5%. That has a direct impact on our new party, the Congressional Republic Party that we've just started to form, because we've said from the beginning our goal was the 2024 senatorial race to get our 5% so we can get ballot access to reach major party status, so we can get our ballot access to make sure our candidates can be seen on the ballot without having to petition every race. With them doubling that number to 10, to get 10% on a first-time run on a statewide race like senatorial is rough. Going through the numbers here in Minnesota, since the Jesse Ventura and the Reform Party, I don't think we've had a third party even come close when it comes close to the on a statewide race. I think legal marijuana now probably was the closest with 6% a couple of years ago in the Senate race. But it's really there was really no reason for them to come with this new standard other than to prevent groups like ours from succeeding. It's a deliberate way to lock out competition. And it's something that if it does pass, we do have some legal aspects that we are looking at challenging it with. Because I mean, it does make things, it's already very hard when you're a new party. That makes it, almost a straight up battle, straight uphill. I'm not saying we can't do it. But it does make it harder than it has to be for you, the people, to have an option on your ballots. Also going on this week, one of the things we've been really working on is myself with the bylaw committee for the Constitutional Republic Party. I've been working on our draft bylaws. We're hoping to have something on the website within the next week or two for you to start looking over. One thing I do want to remind everybody with these draft bylaws, that's exactly what they are. They're draft bylaws. There's something we're now putting together. We're still working through how these bylaws are implemented, platform, not bylaws, platform. How this platform is going to look in its end result is going to be completely up to you. Each one of these platform planks are going to be introduced, debated, amended, and finally approved, hopefully, when we have our convention. Again, and we're not looking to have a huge number of planks on our platform. I've said this before. We basically want the KISS method. Let's keep it simple, stupid. Let's keep it relatively small. Yeah, Pat, I said platform. But a lot of what we did is we went over our Bill of Rights in the Constitution. As a party who is based on the Constitution, we went through and we fleshed out a couple of things on the Bill of Rights just to clarify exactly where, as a party, we stand. And part of that is of course on the Second Amendment. I mean, we believe the Second Amendment is absolute. We went a little bit onto the freedom of religion with the First Amendment, and kind of pointed out, you know what, the big thing is all religions, the purpose of the freedom of religion is clause or First Amendment would be that there was no national religion. There was no state-sponsored religion. And basically a lot of our position is all religions need to be treated the same. You're either all getting tax breaks or none of you are. Either all of you are eligible to get public funds for private religious institutions such as schools, or none of you are. Okay. that's just kind of where we're going to with this as far as our fairness is concerned. We talk a little bit about eminent domain and how it needs to be strictly seen as for the public use, not corporate use, which is often the case nowadays. Is a town will take over a piece of property under eminent domain and turn it over for a corporation because they see more value for the public with this corporation or this company being there than the individuals who own the property to begin with. And we feel that is a direct insult to what the original intention of that portion of the Fifth Amendment was geared towards. And but hopefully we'll have this out over this next week, and you'll be able to take a look at it and go, hey, yeah, you know what, we agree with this, we disagree with this. We are going to also put some of it on Facebook, probably one a day. And we really want your feedback. We really want you to come back and tell us what you think. If you disagree, tell us you disagree. You won't hurt our feelings. We do not want to live in an echo chamber. This party is about you. It's about us, okay, as a group. So, yes, we need your input. It's kind of ironic. I'm sitting talking about how this is about us as a group on a show called Independent is Power. But this party is independent of the political mechanisms of the mainstream political parties, and we're going to end up making a pretty big difference. So that's part of what's been going on from my own personal race that we've mentioned a few times now over the past few weeks, is my race for a commissioner for Polk County. I talked to them yesterday, and it seems like our race is up to 4 people now. So our primary is going to be May 9th. The top 2 is going to get over to is going to make it to the general, which is in August. It should be a pretty good race. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but this is our opportunity to go out there and show people who we are. These local races really are important. A lot of times that we kind of gloss them over. And I've been guilty about doing it myself quite often, because the big races are the one that get your names out there, that get you the publicity, that helps build your party. But these small races have a direct impact on the people, on you and your neighbors. They're the ones who decide these issues with zoning ordinances and stuff like that. That's part of people's day-to-day lives. Okay. So these small races, these city council races, these county commissioner races, these mayor races, I mean, they're so important for getting the message across about liberty, even though they're not as big and showy. And that's one thing I will give the Mises Caucus of the Libertarian Party, which I don't always agree with, but their thought has always been politics is local. All politics is local. Their emphasis has always been on the small local races. And again, if they win those races, that is going to make a good, big impact on their communities. And so we have high hopes on this election coming up for me. That's kind of been the around the area. Well, the last thing I want to talk about again is touch back on the proposed law for the legalization of marijuana. We talked about it a few weeks ago and kind of said, hey, the way it's structured now will basically eliminate small businesses in Minnesota from being able to benefit from this. It will pretty much make it where only the big money players are going to be able to come up and set up shop and so forth. So far, from what we've been able to understand, there has been no real material changes to this. There's been a lot of push, but we're going to have to wait and see if the DFL is willing to budge and accept any outside input. Because right now, being that they do have the trifecta, so to speak, it gives them a certain amount of leeway of saying, hey, this is what we're going to do, and there's not much you can do about it. It's the wrong way to lead. It's the wrong way to, in my mind, you gotta bring in some outside sources and show that you represent all the people. And right now, I don't believe they do. They only represent their own political interest, their own donor interest, instead of representing we the people. Which again, that's just one reason of many for our new party, Constitutional Republic Party. .us. Hint, hint. If you haven't come out there and you haven't taken a look at our website, please do come out, visit us. If the moment moves you, please get a membership, donate. We are going to need funds definitely to fight this new bill from the DFL trying to raise the percentage. I am going to make a couple phone calls today, and some of you already know I know and I've talked to and with Jesse Ventura, and while I don't always agree with Jesse and some of the things he does or believes in, he is a big supporter of third parties, and he is somebody who's called Tim Walz answers. So we're going to try to get Jesse on the phone to call Waltz up and say, hey, this is a bad idea. You need to veto this. And try to get him to remind Waltz, say, I came up and speak for you on your election. You need to act in the case of democracy and a fair playing field in this case. And hopefully we can get some pressure from him to say, hey, you know what, this is a bad idea. I mean, at this point, we're going to pull out all the stops, and we'll do whatever we can. So, hey, I do want to thank everybody for joining in today. It's been kind of quiet on the comments. But you know what? I tell you what, this kind of morning, I understand. I mean, it's cold out there. I mean, I personally wish I was still in bed. I'm definitely questioning my thought process of having a Saturday morning podcast at some points, but we want to do this when everybody else isn't on. So please share the website, share our Facebook post, share our podcast. Help us get the word out. Okay, it's so important. So thanks everybody for joining me. Remember, independent is power. Thank you. Bye-bye.